Welcome back to EpicAirsoftHD. As promised, we have the G&G F2000 licensed by Cybergun. What licensed by Cybergun means is they take a beautiful G&G product and charge you an extra 100 quid for the licensing on it and put it in an absolutely terrible box that tells you the gun is 530 FPS. I just thought I'd point that out to start. This gun isn't 530 FPS. No one does a chrono test with a 0.12 gram BB. It's ridiculous. I don't understand. And then when we compare like G&G boxes of old, like the 416, they've replaced it with this crappy plastic, like protective. That's not even protective. Like, give us a break. Poor G&G, like forced into something they don't want to do. So anyway, let's get the gun out because that's what we're really interested in. Stop me bashing on Cybergun for ruining nice guns that people make. This is the F2000 Hunter version. What makes this a Hunter version is that it's got the 3.5 power scope on the top that the F2000 actually comes with. The gun's obviously made by EpicAirsoftHD. It's been a big favourite with airsofters all over the world. Made by, I think it's FN, for the Israeli market. This has been around for a long while now. I think first seen it was that kind of guy, the SEAL guy with the really croaky voice. Oh, this gun, oh my god, it shoots a million miles on YouTube. So I've always been interested in it until I got my hands on it. It's really strange looking, obviously. It comes in black and tan, and obviously a built-up design. It takes Stanag mags that fit in the back here. Some really slick features on it. The magazine release is actually under here, so you grab the mag, knock it up with your index finger and just yank it out. So quite ergonomic, as ergonomic as a build-up can be. I'm not a big fan, in case you haven't guessed already. In the back here, in the butt plate, is where you house the battery, so that we can just yank this off. It doesn't come off in any kind of fashion other than pull and slide, which I can't do now, even though Steve's told me. No. Need to work this out again, Graham. That's to come off. Right. How the fuck did it get it off in the first place? Stop rolling just now. May as well start again. Honestly, man, I do not know how to get this thing the fuck back on again. Is that it? Nope. Alright, so let's go through some of the features of the gun itself. We'll start from the front. It's got a very unique flash hider, FN's own flash hider. It's a really odd shape. It's made as well so you can get a quick detached suppressor. I don't think anyone makes it, unfortunately. It's a pretty cool little thing. Slides over the top, just clip it into place and it stays there. You've got your gas adjustment at the front, which does nothing for the airsoft version. You've also got a sling attachment here. Really good if you run a 2-point sling, which is pretty much ideal for a bullpup design gun. On this side, you've got your charging handle. Pulls up, locks into place, and you can flick it down and it will obviously go back to the front of the gun. It's not functional, so it doesn't give access to the hop unit. We'll get to that later on. On this side, it has a full shell ejecting port. This was where the shells would eject from the real thing, which is really neat. If you just Google or YouTube FN2000, like the real gun, you'll see the shells actually come out of the front here and they're away from the shooter. They don't ping away, you know, miles and miles away and get into other people running about his face. So cool little feature. They actually included the fake ejection port on there, so that's very good of you, G&G. Your fire selector is much like the P91. You're on safe, semi, and full auto. And you just click that into place. It's really easy to access with both right and left hand, so you can just click it with your trigger finger into the different segments. Really stiff as well, so it won't move into full auto while you're firing semi. Get yourself into trouble if you're playing a semi-only game. The scope itself is another really nice feature. It's got iron sights at the top, so when you're kind of aiming down the sight there, you've got your iron sights, and then you can move down onto the scope, which is kind of a 3.5 magnification. So it's a nice transition between iron sight, CQB, and then going into your kind of longer range kills. Inside here, you've got your hop unit. It's a sort of M4 style hop unit they put in there. Nice tight winding wheel, as I really like G&G hop units. They do a really good job of lifting BBs and staying there, because the G&G, they're actually really stiff. They're hard to move with your finger, but you really want that, because when you're out in the field and you need to keep adjusting your hop unit because it keeps moving off, it's a real pain in the backside. So good feature there. Your battery is also housed in the back of this butt plate. I'm not going to take it off because it's absolute pain and the review would end up 10 minutes long. And also you've got your spring adjustment, so you can adjust the power on the fly if you've got a flat-headed screwdriver. Another nice feature, but not so good if your field doesn't allow that. I've seen a lot of fields that don't allow it because you can change this gun from roughly 350 feet per second to 410, which is a big jump in power, especially for here in the UK. That's great for US though. If you're a US player, you're thinking of picking up this, you're looking for a gun that's good for CQB and for fielding, I guess you can go out and get yourself one of these and you'll be ready to go straight out of the box. Other features of the gun are the magazine release is pretty cool actually. It's alright for a bullpup gun. Once you've got your magazine in there, you just grab the mag, so you can do this on the fly, it's really easy to do. Grab the magazine, push up the index finger and yank it out. This is your mag release button here, so that's the only mag release on this gun. It's not up like the M4 kind of style ones that you'll see on the UAR, which we'll actually have up for review soon, so it'll be good to compare this real steel kind of replica gun to something that is purely airsoft related. So let's take this out in the shooting range and see how it stacks against the other bullpups that we've tested before. Okay, for this test we're using 0.25 gram BBs and of course we're going to do the semi-automatic test first and then the full auto test second. The reason we use the vise, of course, is to eliminate any human element. You want to see how good the gun shoots and not me. So we're actually using it as a steady. The vise doesn't necessarily hold it really hard in place, so we have to use a sort of shooter's point of view as well. A lot of people say, oh, the gun moved in the test. Well, of course it did. Like, we can't fix the gun completely. It's ridiculous. So what we do is I hold the crosshair as much on center target as possible, so you get the closest accuracy reading than we can really get, to be honest. All right. Also, you can see up on the top right-hand side of the screen up here is the chronograph test that we did earlier. And of course, it wasn't shooting 530 FPS. It was shooting more like 350, 360. So let's do the semi-auto test first. And lock the gearbox. Okay, before I show you the target, a bit of an explanation of why we only did one shooting test instead of a semi-auto and full auto. The battery we're using is 7.4 volt 30C lithium polymer battery. Was not really performing well. Actually, it's to do with the gun. The gears aren't shimmed too great and the motor height adjustment is a little bit awkward, so you get that kind of clunky reaction on semi-automatic. When we move to fully automatic though, it's not a problem. It's quite a common thing with the AGs that lock up in semi-auto if the motor per se isn't really pulling the torque to turn that gearbox round. It doesn't reset all the way, and of course when you pull the semi-automatic again, the piston hasn't reset and it can't really pull it back that little bit away, to slam it forward. So what you need to do is stick it in fully automatic and fire a couple of rounds, and generally gets the piston reset back again. So just an unfortunate thing with the shooting test. We could have spent a lot of time, finding another battery. An 11.1 volt battery would have probably did the business, and that's what kind of battery I would recommend to this gun, to be honest. The internals are nice and solid, and of course you've got a low rate of fire down there, so to bring up the rate of fire and stop that happening on semi-automatic, that's what I would go ahead and do. I would get yourself 11.1 volt, 25C, 30C battery, and it should run absolutely sweet. Fortunately, we don't have one here today to test with, so that's what we're stuck with. Anyway, regardless of that, the gun shot really, really well. We've got slight vertical movement here. That might be due to the vise actually. I could feel the gun sort of moving up and down very, very slightly, but it's enough to throw it off. So you get a really nice, neat cluster roughly here in the center of the target. So if you've got your scope zeroed in, which is pretty easy to do, to be honest, you're going to hit the target every single time. In fact, if this was kind of centerized, not in a vertical pattern, it would actually be a really nice, neat cluster, and probably one of the best guns that we've tested here in the show. So if you're looking for an F2000, avoid the old JLS kind of nonsense thing and go for a G&G one. It's a very sturdy gun. I'm not a particular fan of it at all, but we got it for review, I guess, and it turned out not to be too bad at all. I don't think I could ever fall in love with it, to be honest. It's a really, really ugly gun in my point of view, but yeah. If you want to pick this gun up, I'll put the links in the description below in Airsoft World. You can pick this up for about £320, £330, which is a lot better than Cyber gun offer this gun for something like ridiculous, like £400. It's just not worth that money to me, to be honest. But if you're paying 320, 330, and definitely worth it. There's also a Res version, replaces this Hunter scope at the top with a long Res along the top there as well. It's a wee bit cheaper, and of course you can get your whatever optic you want to throw on top. I think that's the one I would go for if I ever went to purchase one of these. So guys, check Airsoft World out on Facebook. They do competitions all the time, all that kind of stuff. They also let you know what's coming into stock. They've got some night vision, Enola Gase, smoke grenades coming in. So like them on Facebook so you can see all that stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to us. We do a new gun review every single week, and we'll see you then.